I want you to think about the University of California's budget, where it gets its money, how the UC Office of the President allocates funds to each campus. Should we come to the conclusion that since the UC system is a public university, that the way we make these financial decisions should be made public? I'm Eden Verdugo. In 2011, a California state audit on UC finances was released to show that the University of California Office of the President, also known as UCOP, allocated state funds to each UC campus in varying amounts, without ever fully explaining why or how. Now I know this is a lot to take in, so we'll take it one step at a time. The state of California allocates a certain amount of money to the UC system, in which UCOP then allocates to each campus in varying amounts according to a mysterious funding formula. The term funding formula refers to the formula that determines the level of per-student state appropriations that each campus receives. My data showed that UCLA, Berkeley, and Davis received the most amount of funding, and UC Santa Cruz, Santa Barbara, and Merced received the least amount of funding between 2004 and 2012. I wish I could tell you that this funding formula is made publicly available, but a California state audit on UC finances, in which UCOP staff are interviewed, states that the Office of the President believes that such an analysis would not be a good use of limited administrative resources. This really made me think for a second. Is the Office of the President really being transparent in the way they're spending their state money? With the research that I collected, I was able to pinpoint certain variables that were possible factors in determining levels of state funding each school receives. I found that the older campuses, that being UCLA, Berkeley, and Davis, schools with medical centers, schools with higher operating expenditures and especially in research, and higher nationally ranked schools all received higher levels of per-student state funding. Lastly, campuses with higher graduate and health science enrollment rates receive more per-student state appropriations. 26.26% of UCLA students are graduate students, whereas only 8.7% of Santa Cruz's students are graduate students. Keep in mind that UCLA receives the highest portion of state appropriations, whereas Santa Cruz receives the least. I get it. UCOP wants to do what is in every campus's best interest. But this brings me back to my original question. Shouldn't we hold such a public university accountable in the way it spends our tax dollars? And if they truly don't know how and why state funds are allocated differently to each campus, shouldn't they perform an in-depth analysis of this funding formula? I'm no expert, but with the UC being in such a financial crisis already, it seems pretty crucial to utilize state funding in the most efficient and appropriate manner. And then there's the rebenching formula. Next time on the funding formula.